Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Peacemaker review. I guess I say season 1 review. So you know what that means. It is time for Taylor and myself to break down episode 7, the penultimate episode. I am the Clown Prince of Podcast, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by, as I just said,
I'm the Mearns Taylor Field.
bad timing to take a drink. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 week away from the Peacemaker finale. So, as always, we'll give you our non-spoiler thoughts. We'll get into spoilers. Taylor, for all our content, where can they find us? Because we got lots, side quest made its debut this week. You and I just did a newscast, so multiple newscasts this week. An episode that you were definitely trying to be the wrangler and keep us together. But Big Wamba was saying in our previous chat, many people have hit us up and talked about how good our Boba Fett review and how fun it was. So a big thank you there. That's definitely, if you've not heard our Boba Fett finale review, I think that is a Geekverse all time. Balga hit me up. He's like, "That's the best episode of Geekverse you guys have ever done. That's my favorite one." So, it was a really good time. But it's what I love about Geekverse is we had a wild time, but we also had some great discussion in there. So check that out, and hopefully we'll do the same here and next week, because next week will be bigger because of the finale. So Taylor, where can they find all this content when it drops?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar, geekverse.ca. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also find us on our Twitter, GeekverseCast, and exclusively YouTube, Geekverse Podcast.
Exclusively Geekverse YouTube? What do you mean?
I'm just making it sound cool.
Okay. Links down below have everything. Head over to Patreon to support us. That gets you new content. That gets you multiple newscasts, Comic Virgins, the Golden Geeks. Check that out. That dropped one of our favorite casts of the year. And if you join Patreon, you're going to be a big part in deciding that. We got a couple after nines coming up. We got one February 27th, Sunday morning, and then one a week after the Batman. So I'm very excited to talk to everybody about that. But that helps support us. Plus, you get ad-free exclusive early episodes. You get audio, video, reviews, the podcast network, all our separate feeds, all down below. The Discord that you come join and talk to us and other GV listeners and hosts and stuff. A very good time. So, Taylor Field, what did you think about the penultimate? Obviously, a big one. We got the finale. I feel like a lot of things went down in this episode. So, where are you on it?
Yeah, there was a lot of things that kind of happened that caught me by surprise. I think I kept telling myself, like, holy shit, like, yeah, this is the penultimate episode. And I kept thinking, like, well, there's still a lot that we got to dive into and kind of, like, tackle here. And there were certain surprises that kind of made me feel like rushed. Like, I can't even necessarily say rush. Certain elements of the story took the back seat in this episode. They dived into some character development and progression, and really, I like it because there was a lot of kind of emotional things they were kind of like playing around with in this episode, and they really kind of emphasized just the development of select characters, and it resulted in some major things happening that I didn't necessarily expect, but nonetheless, they happened, and now we can progress to new things and new stories that need to be resolved that we've kind of been seeing develop over the course of this season.
Yeah, it's funny that I agree with you where I think this is coming to a better end. These past few months, we had Dexter and we had Hawkeye and we had Boba Fett. All shows to me that really suffered in those last few episodes where it felt like a big rush to the end. I don't feel that way per se. There's a few things that happen where, we're doing this right now, but it is closing the door on them, and I do feel that we are set up for next week, even though I feel like there's a big cliffhanger on this week where I go, okay, man, this is going to be a lot to handle next week. Like, this is like for a finale, but at the same time, I'm just trying to think of the best way to say this non-spoiler. So, I won't say it's like, here's the thing. It's a big setup, but I feel like knowing James Gunn, there's going to be a not a quick way, but it will be resolved pretty quickly if you look at maybe even something like Suicide Squad for that example as far as an ending. So lots of big, I won't say reveals, just kind of closing circle on a lot of stories. So a lot of things were like, what they're going to do here, what they're going to do here. They answered it. They closed it. I think there's some stuff that, especially 2, they could probably leave open, but if we're going to maybe get another season here, that'll help. But I don't know, would the season 2 be about the butterflies and these characters? I don't know. So it was a good episode overall. Peacemaker, I always get some laughs in here. I think this is like, as far as a emotional performance, probably John Cena's best one, because he has to do a few scenes in here that's like, oh, okay, John Cena, he's still not the Oscar Academy Award winner, best actor in town, but it's like he's getting layered, and I think this does lay into more kind of what I want, of more about Peacemaker's origins and why he's having troubles doing what he's doing now. I still want there to be more conversation about him being on missions, struggling to kill, but I feel like we will get that way more, because especially right now we're meeting some of the worst bad guys. Like, we're kind of past that point where it's like, oh, should I kill this person? It's like, no, these are people you kind of have to kill now. So there's not really a Peacemaker wouldn't feel bad because these are all bad guys, So yeah, that's everything I have. I should pull my Peacemaker notes, but that's everything I have for Peacemaker. Anything else to non-spoiler? Are we good to jump over?
I'm good.
All right, so if you've not seen it, tune out and come back. We're going to take our first break, and then after this break, we will be back with spoilers, so stay tuned. And we're back, and man, raccoons are hardcore, it's a tough thing, but I feel like there's two things I want to start off with, and you can pick which route we're going, because I feel like there's two big things. You had Myrn, who got taken out by the butterflies, extracted and killed, and then you also had Peacemaker's dad taken out and killed in this episode. Where do you want to start? Because I feel like those are obviously there's a big reveal at the end, but I feel like for story points, those are two massive ones that happen. And I do gotta say, at least I don't think the show's playing it safe. They're taking some big swings. If it pays off, I think we'll know more next week. But overall, I'm still I'm enjoying the show, even if I go, oh, really, both these two things, I don't know if they should have happened yet, but I'm still enjoying it. And especially Peacemaker's dad was very shocking.
Yeah, I thought Peacemaker's dad would have been more involved with the whole dynamic of the butterflies and stuff. But let's start with that. Let's start with the White Dragon. Actually, I was like, he looks cool. He looks badass. That armor is super cool. I love the power set that it has, everything that it is able to do. But just the fact that it's being operated by a racist, like, sick
yeah.
fuck.
And like, literally the name is the White Dragon.
The White Dragon, yeah. And his henchmen are wearing like KKK hoods, but like dragon stuff. Like, it's just so fucked.
It's outrageous, yeah.
I that being said, I was surprised that he got executed, but it went a long way, like, especially because we got this whole final revelation now that, hey, the dad literally takes bets to pit his kids against each other. It resulted in his favorite child having a seizure from a punch, blames it on John Cena, and now we have this whole thing kind of come full circle as to why John Cena finally just like shoots him. And I mean, the dad had it coming. Like, he was just talking shit like, I'm always gonna be there, like, you're garbage, whatever, and just gets popped in the head. But yeah, it was crazy. I honestly thought Vigilante was gonna be the one that actually just shoots him off to the side there. But yeah, Peacemaker did it.
Yeah, it's tough because right when he is shot, I was literally shocked. I was like, oh my goodness, this just happened, especially too because they just show the bullet go in his head. So I was shocked he was dead, but I was also shocked when they pan around it was Peacemaker, because I thought that maybe there needed to be one more conversation between Peacemaker and the dad. But at the same time, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you kind of want this shocking moment of Peacemaker made this abrupt decision, even though there's lots backing it, the backstory between him and his dad just being a terrible person overall, he's justified in doing it. But at the same time, that's a big jump. At the same time, if you have a not even emotional scene, but a longer drawn out scene, you may see it coming. You may go, oh, there's only one way for this to end. Where this was just so matter of fact, John Cena just Peacemaker just shot him and he was gone. He was dead. There was no hubbub. He didn't shoot him in the leg. He shot him dead square in the eyes, and it was over for White Dragon. So I think this is one that I will be a better judge on maybe next week, and even I would say next season, but even more. It's tough because I don't know if we're for sure getting a season 2. I need some time to sit on this one. And I don't know if I'll be rewatching this episode, but it almost feels like that where I'm torn, where I feel even him getting locked up again, I feel like Peacemaker and him never had. They had their talks at the beginning, but it was more just to establish, okay, his dad's shitty, but Peacemaker still loves him. His dad goes to prison, and then after the prison, they don't really interact that much in the season, right? They're kind of just stripped apart. So I kind of thought that there was still, even if it was more conversation of, yeah, this is just a piece of shit, and we're not going to see eye to eye. I think that was warranted, but like I said, give me a little bit. I'll see how I feel because I don't think it was a bad choice, and I think it gives a lot, and that's why, even if it was rushed or maybe a little abrupt, why I think it does work is it's going to put Peacemaker on a very interesting playing field because I feel like he did it and he was fine with doing it, but I also felt like he regretted it right after. Like if like once he saw the bullet, he had a Kylo Ren moment of like, fuck, like maybe I shouldn't have done this to my dad. So that's where it's like the shock of it all, because that's where again it feels like that's why it's shocking because he just made that split decision. So it's like, yeah, you could have more, but if you had more, maybe his dad would have talked him out of it, or Peacemaker would have second thought it. So that's where I'm kind of torn. I needed to sit with me. I need to see what they do with Peacemaker going forward. And I don't know if we're going to get that answer in the finale, but I guess I'm pretty confident. They've all talked about season 2. Gunn said, yeah, it's pretty much happening. So that's where I'm waiting to see. But yeah, John Cena as Peacemaker. I just keep calling him John Cena. I literally do, but he shoots him, falls to the knees, and he's just crying. Of course, Vigilante's just fucking like, why are you working on your face exercises now and stuff like that? And Tiber's like, he's fucking crying, you idiot. But how do you think this going forward is going to affect Peacemaker now that because we started this, it was either episode 1 or episode 2 where he told Vigilante, I'm not going to kill my dad. Like, he made that pretty straightforward. That's never happening. Well, he did it, and he seemed like he was in a pretty dark place at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a dark place, but only because he was still dealing with the whole thing that oh God, what is her name? Just being betrayed by his friend. But like,
Yeah.
I think what bounced back, what bounced back for him was again like Eagly hugged him and everything like that. Like I think he had a moment there. So I feel like this is now coming full circle that he's just trying to just do better.
Yeah, it's interesting because I hope that what I really don't want is he killed the dad and then it's just boom, done, clean slate, like he's fine. That I think he should. We've seen him already suffer from PTSD with the brother, other things, so I think it should be brought up. My thing is why I agree with you that they did move on, but I almost feel like yes, you had Eagly, but it's almost just because everything's so quick and they have to move on, they have to go on with the plot. It's like you almost won't have time to fully compress it. But yeah, Eagly gave him the hug, and Abayo saw the hug, and Chris got his photo and everything like that. And yeah, I just don't know, like with a bio, because she betrayed him. Is this gonna is what happened with a bio and his dad gonna make him a better person with what you're saying, or is it gonna make him worse? I really don't know. Is it gonna swear off killing altogether? Because soon is he gonna just have flashbacks of killing his own dad? I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for. Because if they don't really play up the dad thing again or this episode in the future, then I think I would look upon this a little less favorably. But for me, it's all about the follow up of what they do next week and maybe in the future. So yeah, he's dead. I think we had lots of, even though they're the racist characters, we had lots of fun action stuff of Vigilante and them like fighting them or running them away, and it was a tight like 38-minute episode. Obviously with credits is a little less, but anything else you want to shout out about White Dragon? I liked the idea of they couldn't figure out how they kept finding them, and all the helmets had like the trackers in them and stuff like that. So that was clever. So I don't think it was like as actiony as last week, but this kind of felt like majority of it was action, but it was action to close off a lot of story. So anything on his dad or White Dragon or anything in that situation?
No, just that it's concluded his story now. And now I guess he can use the helmets without feeling... I mean, it's a different story. He's not going to be able to replicate the helmets, I don't think, so...
Mm-hmm. Did you think Vigilante was dead when his dad threw that grenade at him? Because the way they shot that, he was just engulfed in the flame, and then when they looked, there was no body.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Him, like, dying, so I thought. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, it wouldn't have made sense to kill him off yet, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I said, my name or what I shout out to, I love when they're in the forest, and he's like, "Yeah, raccoons are hardcore, man." And then Dive's like, "Well, what happened with you and the raccoon is kind of exactly what I thought would happen with like a kind of unwieldy or kind of crazy individual approaching a raccoon, and yeah. So there was some good stuff there, and yeah, they put a lot of our characters potentially in peril, but the one that they did put in peril, and unfortunately he didn't get out of it, was Mern. He just got fucking I like okay, he definitely got destroyed, but I feel like almost just more emotive. He's in this room and all those other butterflies just circle and it's just like there's just no way out. And he tries to talk his way out of it. He tries to figure it out. Doesn't happen. They rip out the actual butterfly, squish him, throw him away, and then later on we get a scene with the bio and Harcourt saying goodbye to him. And nice little scene where he puts his hand up and they touch. I was almost worried like is he gonna jump into one of these two and take him over,
Yeah.
but no, he died. So yeah, and I liked Mern's overall. It was a fun twist, but I actually liked the actor. James Gunn has cast him in Guardians 3, so I'm very excited to see what he does there because I liked everything Mern's was in. So how did you feel about Mern's biting the dust on this one?
I was saddened by it. I was.
Mhm.
I grew to actually like the character. I liked where it was going and what his motives were. And when he broke out and when the evil butterfly like grabbed him and like killed him, and the just look of like shock on the other butterfly cop's like face. Yeah, but his sacrifice wasn't in vain. I mean, he set up the walkie-talkie. They were able to figure out the plan and everything like that. So
Yeah, so he tried his best, and no, I he just don't want to be squished. Like I feel like that's one of the worst ways to go. Obviously, there's not many things that could squish me in real life, maybe some big machinery and stuff like that. But someone just having you in the palm of their hands and squishing you, and he died a slow death too. Wasn't even on impact, and he's trying one last pitch to say, hey, don't do this, blah blah. They weren't having any of it, and I guess we also got our answer too because I think we all thought this, but we're like, hey, what happens if you were to remove a butterfly? Could that person come back? And that answer is no, because the real Mern there is just he's just dead on the bar and he's completely gone. So Mern's gone. Uh, yeah, R.I.P. to the once team leader. And then we got another reveal, which I'm not sure how to feel about this one because people were bringing this up, and I was thinking about it too. And it's just so funny. I was like thinking about this, and then I saw people. I guess it was maybe just last week. This big realization of this is kind of going similar route of Suicide Squad, that you have a alien or something extraterrestrial that takes over people, and now the final thing, the big boss, is this big alien that's probably dispersing these things out. So I agree that we've talked about this before. Eagly looked good. This actually looked good effects wise for the most part. I guess I just again I guess overall I like. I don't know. You go. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase this, but obviously we got our big reveal of what they kind of have to take down the cow. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing did not look pretty. I was thinking like, holy shit, Starship Troopers is what it felt like. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how that plays out because they're going to use teleportation to move it, I guess, something along those lines. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how it works and how it plays out. I think that this thing is actually what's giving birth to them. I didn't know that was actually the case. I thought it was just providing their food source. But yeah, what the plan is, I don't know. I do feel like this is where we're going to get set up for season 2. I think they're going to go in, they're going to try to kill this thing, and it's going to go wrong. No matter what, I think we're going to get something go horribly wrong. It's going to end on a cliffhanger. We're going to get that season 2.
Do you have any problems with the parallels of it being very similar to Suicide Squad? Because, like I said, alien thing that takes over people, makes them do things they wouldn't do otherwise, and then the big climactic battle seemingly going to be against a big monster / alien, just like Suicide Squad with Starro.
Yeah, it is pretty similar. I don't know. I'm kind of liking this setup though a lot more. I'm almost kind of wondering how Suicide Squad would have been better if it was done like this format, like in the format of a show, really. Because yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot more than the other, how the film tackled it. And this thing, like I like Starro more as like a kaiju, but this thing, I guess this thing's classified more as like an alien. And yeah, it's got like the one buck tooth. I feel like they're trying to make it look comedic a little bit. So
Yeah, what I was just trying to say is kind of touched upon earlier, so I was trying to think of a way to say it without cycling what I've said before, but I guess that what they're doing right now to me is written well enough, and it's good that I'm not, oh, this is bad, I don't like it. I still just think I have the preference of I would have rather the dad and that whole storyline been the main story and maybe save
Mm.
butterflies for later or more into the realistic stuff just because we did get something. And for me, I'm a bit more on the negative side of that. It is just kind of a copy. It's the exact same thing. So for me, it's like I would have rathered what the show was pitching, where it's like, oh, it was Peacemaker. He's trying not to kill. He's on these missions because the previews didn't show any. I think they showed when he slept with that girl and she was being high powered, but they didn't show any ideas of like an alien or extraterrestrial. So I kind of wish it was a bit more down to earth because I feel like something like this should be saved for a Suicide Squad or a Justice League. We'll see. Like Taylor says, you could maybe just be setting up for a season 2. So again, kind of like the dad scenario, I'll wait and see. But I got they're doing this well enough. I'm just not enjoying that aspect of the show. You know, it's just
Mhm.
like in there's a show right now I'm watching today called Euphoria. It's with Zendaya. It's a teen drama, but there's also like a drug element to it, like a crime drug element. And anytime that happens, I kind of like, I've seen Sopranos, I've seen The Wire, I've seen Breaking Bad. Like I've had enough of like I've seen the great drug drama show done well. I'm here for the teen angst and the drama and the dating relationship stuff. So that time I always kind of tune out. That's how I feel about this, where I don't dislike the butterflies as a character, but when we get to this overall threat, I just kind of put it as like, okay, we're doing this. It's like it feels like it's checking that box of, oh, comic book show must have big climactic battle, check, and that's
Mhm.
what this is. So we'll see next week. We'll see what they do with the cow. Some reveals too. Hardcore and Ababayo had it out as far as she knew that she was Waller's daughter now, that she was kind of a plant. Abayo is pretty much just, I don't know what's going to happen with season 2, but she's pretty much like out. She just doesn't want to be there anymore, which makes sense. It's a terrible
Well, that
job,
kind
but
of turned around though, right? Because at the end, she's like, "Yeah, this
yeah.
is my crew. Like, I'm here. My wife is even supporting me being here."
Yeah, and Hardcore's like, oh, you're good at this and stuff. It's like, I guess she's good, but I don't think she's like a professional. I don't think she's been so good. Like she's made a few mistakes already, but they've also kind of elected Hardcore as the, I'd say, new Mern, like the leader and stuff like that. And I don't think we talked about this on newscast, but there is, so the actor that plays Diebeard was talking about these characters appearing in other stuff, and apparently it's a rumor according to him because it's not confirmed, but he made it sound like Harcourt is going to be in Black Adam actually, which
Hmm.
is very interesting. So, oh, you had heard that, right?
Yeah,
So
I did.
that to me, like, how do you feel about her position now? Whether she's the new Murns or Brick Flag, like, what do you think about that being in the show? But then, what do you think about going forward with these Black Adam rumors that she's kind of moving up in stock as far as the DC world going?
Um, I mean, is she, close to the director? Yes, she is. Does she have that as like a hand to get into more of these prominent roles in these films? Yeah, absolutely. Or not prominent role, but have her character become more prominent in these films.
Oh, you're talking about James
So
Gunn. When you said director, I'm like, who the fuck is the director? Like, what character did I miss named the director? Go
the
ahead.
director, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I do think that it just makes sense of all the other characters that she's the one that's kind of been chosen to kind of progress throughout these other DC franchises. And again, she's a great character. She's definitely a talented actress. I really like her a lot in the show. I've grown more on to the fact of enjoying her from where we start with her, because it started was
Hmm.
just kind of like the walls up, just like doesn't care about anyone, is just doing her job, doesn't even like her job. But it was like the whole team effort that really kind of like changed it over. And what context she appears in Black Adam, I have no fucking clue. Hopefully she's not one of those like mercenaries at the beginning that gets murked when they're like seeing Black Adam at the beginning.
I'd like to talk to you. That's the clip tomorrow that The Rock's releasing. Is this clip of him killing Harcourt? Then James got like, couldn't have waited till after the finale. Like, no, Dwayne wanted it this way, But no, you bring up a good point. We'd seen that last week with the team in the photograph. I can't remember. One of our Discord members was talking about that they liked the Harcourt turn. They just think it's a little rushed, and I could agree with that. Where she was pretty much just a hard ass, and then last episode she was turning the corner. I just think this one she almost like fully turned the corner. She was opening up with a bio. She was crying when Murns died. So it went real fast from hard ass to turn. But at the same point, they're under a high pressure situation, so it could always happen. I'm still interested to see if like her and Peacemaker I still think they're not. I don't think there's gonna be time for them to have any like real romantic relationship. I don't think it's happening, but we'll see. But yeah, she's kind of the pseudo leader, and they got a plan. They're gonna try and take down the cow next week, and I imagine they'll be successful. They'll get the job done. So do you think anyone else is biting it next week, or you think all the characters we have are pretty safe?
I mean, I've kind of been suspecting that we're on like a one character bites it per episode. I think next week, at least minimum one character bites it per episode. I think next week we could see someone kill or get killed. I don't want to say
Like
vigilante in the team. Yeah, I just don't know why, but I could see like Economos actually being the one to get bopped. I feel like Peacemaker and Vigilante are like they're going to be going off into the second season. I think that's like the dynamic that people really, really like to see. They've kind of mended the dynamic between Economos and Peacekeeper. So like, again, they're not necessarily like fighting anymore. Peacemaker. Fuck, I'm doing what you guys are doing. They've kind of mended that. So I don't think like they're friends now. So I feel like they're going to run that route of killing off one of these friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely, unfortunately, because I do like him, he's definitely the one that takes the cake.
I do hate to say it. I think Eagly is also quite on the table too, because they gave him that big moment with Peacemaker this episode, and they had the friendly hug and stuff. That's the time to kill someone when those heartstrings are as strong as could be, and then boom, there goes Eagly and puts Chris in an even darker place. But actually, I'll take other than Eagly as far as a person. I don't think there will be anymore. I think we've had our death for this season now, and maybe next year.
What about Judo Master? You think they kill him?
Right, I forgot Judo Master came back. No, I feel like James Gunn likes the character and would keep him around as some sort of inside joke. So, yeah, I like the character enough, but I don't love it. But what were you gonna say?
He was very random this episode. Like, just the two guys in front of the corner store see him, and the whole, like, after me Lucky Charms kind of thing that they were doing. And I fucking lost it when he kicked the shit out of them, and then he did his little leprechaun dance just to mock them. And then the cashier clerk's like, thumbs up. And it caught me off guard, too, because when the two girls were in the motel room, and they're getting ready to leave, and then just Judo Master just like, just shows up. I was like, what the fuck? It just decks them both out of the fucking blue. Oh.
Judo Masters at times where, again, this show feels like a Family Guy thing to me. He's just this character that's around causing mayhem. And
like if you're talking about Family Guy themes, when they were paying around in the vets hospital, and like the chick vet was caught with a gun, I was like, that is definitely Family Guy themes. Like, we're coming too. Like, whoa, you guys need to calm down.
Yeah, that was 100% like a Family Guy cut in. But that was great. They get this plan. They're just sitting there with the guns. Like, no, you're not coming. But yeah. That was right out of a Family Guy episode, and the show still has those. And Judo Master is still. He would just remind me of like every once in a while, Family Guy a season or two would have some random character they would just love putting in, and that's Judo Master right now. I think James Gunn just likes that dynamic and stuff because I feel like he's not been that vital to the plot really in a bit, but maybe he'll bite it next week, or maybe he's gonna help the team out, and he's kind of a semi-member. Who knows? I don't know. That's all my notes. Anything else on Peacemaker?
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, no, short episode because Kirkland's not with us, but plus, pretty straightforward episode. There's some big things that happen, but they're pretty straightforward, and it's cut and dry. Like Peacemaker killed his dad. That's it for him. It's over for him. So yeah, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, Kirk will be joining us for the ultimate episode of DC. No, for the final episode of Peacemaker, episode 8. I think at least one thing we know about the show so far in James Gunn, it's not going to be without some crazy things happening or some very off the wall dynamic stuff. So we'll be back next week. Until then, we promise you it won't be boring.
Bye bye.